got 1 million views.
Celebrating over 1 million views. eRadioSA.com.
It is 3:05. It is time for Tech Thursday with Kaine. Kaine is in studio. Kaine, how are you today?
Hey, Eon. No, fantastic to be back. What a brilliant Thursday it is here in sunny Nice now. I mean,
Oh,
wow.
thank God the sun is shining.
I've been on defrost mode for too long. Everywhere I
Listen,
go.
yesterday and the day before, it was like, I don't know, it was like bone chilling.
I was looking at the temperatures and it was going between like 0 and 8. Can you imagine the horror of minus 30 or minus 20? I wouldn't survive.
But even -7 for Bloom last night.
Yeah.
How do you survive?
You don't.
We were walking in the cold one morning 2 days ago, and it just felt like it went right through your skeleton. It's like it's like your skeleton is burning from the cold. This is a weird sensation.
It's like you put clothes on and they are warm, but then eventually all the clothes that you're wearing are actually cold.
Yes, it doesn't work. It just goes right through you. It was insane, man. Your lungs are also burning from the cold.
Oh yeah, I went for a
It's
run
crazy.
the other day in the cold, and it's like trying to breathe razor blades. It just doesn't work.
Exactly.
And otherwise, how's your week been, Eon?
Oh, it's been a crazy week, man.
Yeah. I like your new 1 million views, the little audio there. How cool is that, eh?
Cool, man.
Sure.
Yeah, we gotta brag a bit. I must tell you, it's Thursday now. I actually lost track of time, but it's been a challenging week, let me tell you.
I can imagine.
But thank goodness we're on the path to recovery.
Yes, absolutely.
My mom, of course. And it's good to be back in studio. I was absent for 2 days, but I mean, when something like that happens, you don't even care about anything. Even though eRadio is my life and everything, and it means so much to me, you just care about that family member then. It's kind of like, screw everything else. Just drop everything and just take care of that person.
Family
that
comes
you love.
first.
Family comes first.
Absolutely. And,
You're so right.
The ball kept rolling. So you have to have something good out there if it just keeps going, even in your absence.
Yeah. No, it kept rolling, man, thanks to autopilot.
Yeah, I wish I could have that in my day-to-day life some places.
It really helps a lot. But we have a lot of interesting things to talk about today. One of them is Windows operating system that's running in the clouds.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Did you know it started with gaming?
No.
Yeah, at one time they introduced cloud gaming. So basically the computational element of gaming, all the number crunching and the graphics cards running and the processors going crazy.
It's too heavy on the machine, yeah.
Was run off site, away from your computer, and all you're taking is the visual information.
The feed, yeah.
So you can play on a ancient device.
So you're not limited to the components inside your own machine.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic.
When I worked with esports.com, they had one of those PCs, and I happened to try them out. They had all the best tech in that cloud-based PC. It ran really well, but the biggest downside to something like that is actually the latency that it takes to reach the server and get back.
Okay, and you need to have a super quick internet connection.
I mean, to give you an idea, people who game a lot, for example, they measure even the response time that it takes from information to go from your keyboard to the monitor and for the monitor update. And they're working on 3 milliseconds, 2 milliseconds,
Yeah, it needs to be low.
So you need to be quite close to the server in order to get the best experience. But when you're talking about using a Windows PC, having 50 millisecond or 150 millisecond or even something which would be outlandish like 300 millisecond latency, which is a third of a second, is still usable, especially if you're crunching digital data in the shape of video editing or rendering or any of that sort of stuff. I mean, I was even working with a bit of video the other day, and I was stabilizing 8K footage, which just basically means stopping it from shaking. So I was stabilizing that 8K footage, and for a 10-second snippet, it took me about 12 and a half minutes on a decent PC just to render out that stabilization. So when you can incorporate tech like that for $50 a month or $100 a month, the resources that you have available far outweigh any latency related issues. So I was surprised to see gaming go there first, then cloud-based operating systems. But I mean, some of the benefits that you can imagine from doing something like this is, let's say you have a cloud-based computer, you have all your applications on it, all of your files, all of your hardware that you look at and that you browse and that you manage for your work, and now you go from Gauteng to Quebec, and you don't have to take your computer. You just log straight back into the cloud-based operating system and your whole PC's back.
And Kaine, the best of all is, nobody can steal it.
No!
Nobody can break into your house and steal it. Isn't that fantastic?
That's
brilliant.
In South Africa especially,
The downside is if somebody's drilling outside your house and they drill into your internet cable, or they're busy, or they cut through, or something happens to your internet, then your PC is gone.
Yeah, you can still at least use your computer when
you
the
have
power's
a screen
out
left.
Yeah, when there's no internet.
Yeah, but I like that they can't steal it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's not a physical item. It's up in the cloud, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about clouds nowadays. Yeah.
And it's all about, being able to have this new gen lifestyle, where you're managing the same digital information, accessing your computer from your phone, from your tablet, from your computer in another country or in another city or even down the road. You always have access to your computer.
Yeah, you don't have to take it anywhere, carry it with you.
No hard drives
Be worried
crashing.
About exactly.
No power surges thanks to load shedding.
Yeah, unless they've got technical problems. That's I'm sure being Microsoft, I'm sure they got it sorted.
Yeah, with all ups coming down, eh?
So have you upgraded to Windows 11?
I did try it briefly. I haven't had the privilege of actually going and digging into it just yet.
So, but do you want to upgrade?
Not at this current time. I'm still a fan, believe it or not, of Windows 7.
Same. That was the most stable, simple design, but the most stable system that I've ever worked on.
Absolutely. And one thing I noticed about Windows 10 is you go to your settings and then somehow you find yourself adjusting the same settings but in a completely different interface.
But Kaine, it keeps changing.
Exactly.
It keeps moving, and you've got departments inside departments and drop downs inside drop downs. Later on, you don't know where you are on your computer.
I don't know how to. I mean, have you ever tried to find your Wi-Fi password on a Windows 10 computer?
No. But I wouldn't know where to look.
No easy task. There's no coding involved, but it's like a treasure hunt.
No, man, it's definitely not user friendly. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Imagine a granny trying to work on a thing like that.
No, it's not possible. I mean, just trying to have a call with someone instructing them on what to do could be tedious.
Oh my gosh. No, that's insane.
What else do you have for us today?
Ken, I'm very sad about this looting thing, and I see LG actually had... Was it LG? I just want to make sure. LG actually had their warehouse... Oh no, Samsung had their warehouse destroyed in KZN during those riots. Can you imagine that thing going up in flames with all those TVs and beautiful...
What a waste.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't they just send it to us beforehand? But did you see during the riots, they stole TVs, and then there's a clip going around of this guy. He stole the TV, and then he's running away with it, and then another guy steals it from him.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's like watching a parody or
it's like
something.
Purge.
Yeah, it is like the Purge, eh?
Yeah.
Like Ready, Set, Go.
Did you see the one of the guy who stole the TV, but he underestimated the size of his car versus the size of the TV, and he couldn't fit the TV in his car.
And then they show that toy thing, why it's important to have that toy when you're a child, that thing where you squeeze the shapes through. I played with it, so I'd be able to fit it in.
He bought such a hectic... he stole such a hectic TV. I mean,
it
was like 60-inch. I mean, it was quite funny because I watched the video quite closely, and he first tries to put it in the back of the car, but there's no way.
No.
It's impossible. So then he goes to the boot, which is much smaller than the side of your car. He tries that. But then another car drives past, similar to his car, with the TV on the top of the car.
I was thinking the roof, yeah.
And he just looked at it enviously, as he realized he can't do the same.
And then there's also that meme going around of the guy gets home with the TV, and and then he stole it from a Steers or something, and he's only got burgers on the screen, and he can't get rid of the burgers. He says it's been playing the burger since yesterday. How do you change the channel? Even though it doesn't work like that, but that was pretty funny as well.
At least we can laugh, because in reality it's a devastation. I mean, I work with a lot of international clients, and they have been, calling me and saying, what's going on? Why is this happening? What is the cause of this? And the honest answer is, it's so difficult to tell. I mean, I think it's something that is just blown completely away from the initial intent. I feel like it's blown way away from the initial intent.
Yeah, of freeing Zuma.
Yeah, and it's moved into free for all. And I look at it as like the feather on the top of the camel's back, because we've been under lockdown. We've had economic struggles as we're trying to fend our way around the lockdown, and now you basically people who might feel hard done by, or might want a TV, or might want to steal things, they see this happening, and it's an opportunity.
Yeah, it's an excuse.
It's an excuse to do it.
And you're not getting prosecuted, even though I believe over 1,000 people have been arrested. I haven't seen those arrests.
The thing that hurt me the most is you see people, and it's South African nature actually, you see people filming them breaking into like an MTN store, and the person filming will shout, "Don't forget the AirPods. Get the
Are
new
you
AirPods."
serious?
Shouting stuff like that.
No, I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, and I thought, it's a South African nature to make a joke in a horrible environment, because that's how we handle those things.
I think it's a coping mechanism.
But, what do you do? You go try and stop them from breaking, and you get trampled to death.
Yeah, they'll kill you.
So, and there's been,
Did you see how there's a ShopRite in I think it's in KZN. We posted it on our Facebook page, a ShopRite, and then the staff don't want those guys to come in, obviously, so they take a lot of like liters and liters of cooking oil, and they make like a line in front of the store with all the cooking oils, and they couldn't get in because they were slipping.
Oh my word.
I think it's a pretty good idea. Pretty
Thank
creative.
goodness there wasn't someone very smart there who just lit it on fire.
Yeah,
Can you actually just light? No, you have to heat it up first. You can't just light it.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine that.
Oof. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
If I had ill intent, that would be my first thought. But I think it needs to be hot.
Yeah, but listen, I was confused earlier about Samsung and LG. I see both of them lost their warehouses, LG and Samsung.
Wow.
So that is not cool.
No, it's in terms of tech being stolen. I mean, they steal from residential houses, they steal from warehouses, they steal from stop shops, pop-up shops. I mean, no one is safe effectively, which is pretty sad.
There was this American reporter, I saw the video on YouTube last night, and he was asking the guy was running with a lot of stuff that he stole, and he was asking the guy, "Why are you doing it?" And the guy just keeps on running, and he shouted over his shoulder, "Because I can."
You see? So it's
this reporter can't understand why.
I just don't I even don't even understand, because I mean, you if you're in that environment, you it's almost scary for the people, because if you're not in it and you're restricting it from happening, and there's more people that want it to happen than you are with your chommies who don't want it to happen, it could get ugly.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't stand a chance. You're completely outnumbered. I've got a friend in Pietermaritzburg, and he was just staying in his house because it sounded like a war zone outside. Like, even in the neighborhoods, you don't dare go out, and you hope they don't come for your house.
We have people, because we do some property rentals in the area, we have people who are coming from Durban to get away.
I would do the same, actually. Yeah.
I would be out of here, to be honest. I mean, I'm no use to fend it off. I don't know Kung Fu.
No,
I don't
it's
even
a bloody
know how to
war
use
zone.
a weapon, nothing.
Yeah, you need to have some protection room or something in your house to lock yourself in.
And even then, I mean, you locked in there. If they're in your house and you're in the safe room.
Or they set it on fire or something. How do you get out? And also now the people here in the Western Cape, now we're dealing with food and milk and all that kind of stuff, shortages.
Oh yeah.
Because of what's going on up there. We're paying for it now.
And you can't steal enough milk to last a month, because milk has an expiry date, so some things aren't worth stealing.
And I saw this video of a truck. He actually had to get rid of liters and liters of milk because they couldn't get it to the place it was supposed to be transported to in time.
And it expired.
Look at all that milk. Why couldn't you give it to the poor or something?
Yeah. No, and that's not the priority for the people doing the looting isn't to
But
make
Kaine,
sure that
it's mind-boggling. I'm speechless, actually, to be honest.
it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean,
And why didn't our president declare a state of emergency? He was just talking in circles that other night when he was addressing the violence.
Babbling.
No plan of action or anything.
Yeah, no.
Wasted our time.
Yeah, and I think they're clueless as to what to do. I mean, I would hate to be in that position, having to make these decisions.
Yeah, no, it can't be easy.
It's not like it's not like it's happened 100 times before. You know what to do. You know, like this is the make or break. This is where you make these decisions that go into the history books.
And besides it, you're dealing with a pandemic as well. I mean, that should be the main priority.
Oh yeah.
You don't need this kind of stuff on the sideline.
What happens to the vaccines and all the people who are due for vaccinations all throughout this week?
But did you see what happened on E News, ENCA News? While the president was talking about the violence, they showed a little pop-up here on the left-hand side, left-hand corner of the screen, because they obviously can't interrupt the broadcast. So they're little, what do you call it, little slide-in or something.
Like a little notification
Yeah,
thing.
like a little box, and you can watch inside that box, where they usually put those people
for the sign language and stuff.
And while the president was busy speaking, they were looting a blood bank. A blood bank. While he was busy speaking to the wrong people. Those people are out there. They're not watching TV.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. President.
No.
Anyway, this is getting very grim now. Kaine, let's move on.
I have something for you. Have you ever wondered what the top banks in the top digital banks are in South Africa according to their customers?
I've actually wondered, yes.
Do you want to guess the top 3 lineup? And let's
Is it
see
one
how
that's...
close you are.
Do they have branches, or is it like a completely digital bank?
This is, you've got your ABSA, your Standard Bank, your Thime Bank, your Nedbank, your FNB, your Capitec. Those are the banks, but rated on their digital applications and things like that.
I'm with ABSA, and I think their online presence is their online platform's designed pretty well, and it's nice and it's secure, but they're probably not on top, eh?
Guess the top 3.
Top 3?
Guess the top 3.
Okay, FNB must be up there somewhere.
Okay.
FNB.
Standard Bank,
Really?
Capitec. No, guess.
Okay, wait. FNB, Capitec, and let's just give it to ABSA.
Okay, so going from the bottom, rated out of six banks rated, number 6th, worst, but not necessarily the baddest. ABSA at number 6.
Oh,
Standard Bank at number 5.
makes sense.
Nedbank at number 4.
Don't like it.
Thime Bank at number 3.
Huh?
My question as well. I have Time Bank
Who?
or Time.
Is it Time
I mean,
Bank?
I've never seen it.
I think
to be
maybe
honest
a TV
with you.
ad or two.
I might be way out of the loop, but I don't know none of that.
No,
about
you know your
Time
stuff.
Bank. FNB number 2.
Okay.
So you had that right.
Okay, and who the hell was at number 1? Capitec.
Yes, sir.
Well done,
You
Capitec.
got 2 of 3. That's impressive.
Now make the Capitec noise.
I don't. I
Boop,
would.
beep, beep, beep.
That was awesome. Oh my gosh! I just saw the ad in my mind.
Yeah, you know their ATMs also make that noise. It's kind of good for a brand to have that noise. But I know people say it's annoying because sometimes your phone also makes that noise when you get payments.
But
or
Capitec's
money goes
app
out.
is fantastic.
Really?
It's simple.
Are you with Capitec?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm with FNB, and I've been with Nedbank and ABSA and Standard Bank.
Okay, so what is your preference?
Well, I must say, I mean, if you're talking functionality, like how much can I do and how hard is it, and regardless of how hard it is to do it, FNB would probably have the most functionality, but Capitec is simple. And it also has a feature to manage, your expenses, and it makes it a very easy way to see how much you're spending on groceries, how much you're spending on rent, how much you're spending on going out, and all of that sort of stuff becomes very easy. So in that light, I'm actually not surprised that Capitec takes the lead. And you know what I've noticed about Capitec? In Knysna specifically, obviously, but it stands out quite a lot. You and it's like 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon on a, let's say even a Saturday, maybe not a Saturday, let's say a Thursday. You notice FNB's closed, Nedbank's closed, Capitec's open. So that definitely makes an impression.
Yeah, that accessibility.
That makes an impression. So it was good to see, it was good to see the bank that I use there at the top.
Yeah, good choice.
That felt good. But I mean, FNB also, I don't like FNB, mostly because of how much scrutiny they've given towards, crypto, especially.
I saw them in the news again. Where was it? Yeah. FNB blocks Bitcoin credit card purchases from overseas. That was actually
that was the most recent one. The first thing that they did was they stopped businesses from having an FNB account if they operated with crypto. So you as an exchange operator, maybe you're a legitimate exchange, there's scammers, there's all of that stuff. They exist whether you are legitimate or not. There's always the chances and the people who want to make a quick buck and the people when they want to run away with money. But then you got the legitimate companies like Luno, and Luno even had a bank account with FNB. And they said no businesses may operate, with an FNB business account if you work with crypto. So Luno, one of the exchanges, had to move to another bank. And Standard Bank jumped in right away and offered Luno what FNB offered Luno, but it also allowed additional functionality for its customers, Luno's customers. So for the first time ever, you were able to instantly withdraw your money from the exchange, request an express withdrawal, and it's like an instant transfer, and it comes to you instantly. So although, I don't like FNB for doing that, they also created a more consumer-orientated environment in order to, work with and manage crypto. But in the same light, it's also fair on FNB's part. They don't want money to leave South Africa. That is, it's a governmental kind of ruling, the national treasury and whatnot. They don't want money to depart South Africa. We even have a few international clients can't launch in South Africa because you can't facilitate South Africans sending money out of the country. So if you have an out-of-the-country bank account and South Africans are depositing into that bank account via credit card, you cannot operate within South Africa from a regulatory standpoint.
Somebody is saying on the WhatsApp line, I use Luno or Coinbar to send my crypto to FNB.
So that would be FNB did not stop the consumers from using it. They stopped the businesses from being able to use FNB to facilitate their financial transactions. So if you were to go make an EFT deposit into Luno, I believe, I might be wrong now, but I believe it might not be to an FNB account. It will probably be to a Standard Bank account.
He said it was a typo. He meant Coinbase, not Coinbar. I was also like, what's Coinbar? Is that like a new thing?
I thought it was just a new South African exchange. I just accepted it.
Coinbase.
Coinbase, I know. Okay. Yeah, very popular.
He says it's a crypto exchange or something.
Yeah, incredibly popular.
Okay,
one of
well,
the
that's
first.
Cool.
One of the first.
Really. Yeah, man. That's
a lot of
really,
people
really cool.
actually use it, opposed to something like Luno. Luno just is in my opinion, is great for South Africans to manage their crypto. There are some others like Altcoin Trader, which I personally do not like. Altcoin Trader. I once tested out Altcoin Trader, sent them some crypto, and the beauty of crypto is you can see where your money is. There's no doubt about it. You're not like, hey bank, do you see my money in? It's like, your money's in.
Yeah.
And they never credited me with the money. I had to call them, and then all of a sudden they credited me, and I was like, no, I don't trust that. So since then I haven't, but I'm sure they would also be an example of a legitimate one when you're comparing it to something like Mirror Trading International or AfriCrypt or any of the big scammers that have seen, come swept through South Africa. And I imagine that Luno probably sits there thinking to themselves, sure, damn that these guys had to go and do all of this illegitimate stuff, because they make it that much harder for even us as consumers to utilize cryptocurrency, albeit, so decentralized and all of that. If your bank really does turn around to you and say, we're going to make it as hard as possible for you to be able to own and manage and use crypto, you're going to have a hard time. So that's very interesting. But in terms of interesting news, did you know Facebook and Instagram are planning to invest $1 billion into content creators? Can you imagine why? What do you think sparked that to happen? Why would Facebook, which is Instagram, invest $1 billion into social content creators?
They want to do something, they want to go up against YouTube, or maybe it's because everybody's spending so much time online nowadays.
Pretty close, but TikTok has grabbed the #1 social media spot.
They going up against TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Facebook Inc. will spend $1 billion on social media creators through the end of 2022 in a fight for the top talented, announced in a week when TikTok became the first rival mobile app to hit 3 billion downloads. Facebook's investments will include bonus programs to pay creators who hit certain milestones on its apps, including photo sharing service, the photo sharing service on Instagram, and funding users to produce content, they said. It's interesting enough, YouTube did something similar. They actually paid certain content creators to create short films. I have personally not had the opportunity to watch those short films, but a lot of people have said to me, these short films are terrible. And you're giving someone who makes content behind a camera, a movie kind of budget, low-class movie budget to produce something.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the ups and the downs with it. So it'll be interesting to see.
So, Kaine, when are we making a horror film or something?
I wouldn't watch it because I'm terrible at making. movies.
We'll make one. We'll try at least. We'll film it next to the lagoon at night.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty
walking
scary.
the red brick road. Yeah, that'll be.
I'll direct it and play in it. It's low budget.
So, multiple major tech platforms are on the offensive to attract and keep social media personalities with new payments and services. TikTok has committed to spending $2 billion. Okay.
Oh
to
my
support
gosh.
creators over 3 years.
Oh.
Snap Inc.'s Snapchat used to pay creators a total of $1 million per day to post popular short-form videos on its service, and says it still distributes millions per month to support creators through its spotlight. It's funny that TikTok is paying out, $2 billion over 3 years, and Facebook kind of comes in and say we're going to pay $1 billion over the next year. It's kind of like they're trying to be on the same line, but the reality is, which I think is quite interesting, is me, if I'm a content creator, or if you're a content creator, create on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the world's your oyster. Use all of them.
Yeah, you just use all of them. Yeah.
And to ask a creator to produce content exclusively for one platform might work, but it creates a bidding war. To take that approach, you're going to spend more because now I'm an asset, so you're bidding on me. Facebook wants me, Instagram wants me, TikTok wants me, Snapchat wants me. They all want to pay, and they all want exclusive rights. That makes Facebook say, okay, we're going to pay more, and then Snapchat comes and say, no, we're going to pay you more, and then the creator makes more money, which is great, but it's not productive towards Facebook spending less to get more. I don't know what kind of route they kind of plan there, but definitely a cutthroat environment at the moment. Losing your audience, if you lose the content creators, if you lose the influencers, you might say, what's wrong with losing a few influencers? Well, they're the ones that are bringing you to the platform. You're not always going to Instagram to see your friends post, maybe sometimes, but especially like Facebook, you're going there to see these funny Instagram reels, or you're browsing TikTok's feed to see new interesting information that has a high potential budget. There's even one guy on YouTube that tries to recreate gadgets that he sees in movies and stuff.
Wow.
He remakes it from scratch using carbon fiber, polycarbonate, or whatever materials he thinks is necessary. It's not a cheap process. You need to be making revenue in order to front those costs.
The worst is when you get stuck in a loop and you start watching one after the other, and before you know it, it's 5 days later.
Go down the YouTube wormhole, start watching things you never were expecting to watch when you started.
There was I don't know if you saw, in Miami, there was a building, a condo that collapsed with 55 units inside. Luxury thing.
Really?
It just collapsed overnight. The people were sleeping in it. Boom. Gone. Reduced to rubble. Over 100 people dead now.
Jeepers.
Already. And I got stuck in the videos where they try to determine the cause. They show you the floor plans. They show you everything. And I was just like, I want to know what happened here. So I was obsessed with it. I watched one video after the other. It's so interesting.
Even, speaking of getting sucked into the YouTube wormhole, I even once watched, I was following, the Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly kind of rivalry that formed. But the way that it formed was quite interesting. Machine Gun Kelly happened to make a song like 5 years before Eminem saw it, where he happened to tune Eminem and his daughter and whatever. And Eminem was on an interview and he said, he got sucked down the YouTube wormhole and 5 years later happened to see this Machine Gun Kelly post. So then he made that initial diss track, which he came back with Kill Shot after MGK released another diss track, and that whole rivalry started. MGK doesn't release rap anymore, so but he went down the YouTube wormhole.
Yeah, so you call it a wormhole. Yeah, it actually makes sense. Yeah. You don't come up very, very quickly.
Eminem phrased it well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he does say so himself. Do you know Apple is working on a new type of camera? Can you believe it's a folded camera? Okay.
What?
Listen to this. Apple is continuing to develop technology for a folded camera system that could replace the bulkiness of the camera bump on a future iPhone while maintaining image quality, which obviously the company has actually been working on an attempted version of the folded camera. And I always ask myself that question a lot. You're using your phone. The reason I bought my phone case is because the camera would rest on the table.
Yeah.
You never think your camera is going to be damaged, but it does.
Yeah. Why would you put your phone down on the camera?
On it.
That's always been my problem. Yeah.
It's like getting a DSLR camera, just placing it lens down.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. So obviously a folded camera is something that could have major application if done correctly. Apple planned to reduce the physical bulk of an iPhone's camera without compromising its features like its telescopic zoom or its optical image stabilization. In its most recent patent covering similar technology granted on July 13 by the US, the tech giant continues to detail how a folded or periscope-like camera system could work. The patent, simply titled Folded Camera, details a system that includes two light folding elements such as prisms and an independent lens system located between the two prisms, which includes an aperture stop and a lens stack. Just some fancy photography terminology there, just to say that the camera will still do what it's supposed to do. Additionally, Apple appears to be placing specific emphasis on allowing high resolution images and complex camera technologies such as autofocus or optical image zoom. The lens system may be moved on one or more axes independently, but the overall shape may still remain the same, and the overall Apple style look might still remain the same. So definitely taking when patents come out, that's when these big boys are trying to build something industry shifting. They're trying to recreate the wheel basically. And to create a camera which is, because you cannot have a big camera on a phone, and that's the most amazing thing about phones. We realized that, okay, we don't need to put a really good lens on if there's 4 cameras there that can use AI to make a really good image. And I see it all the time. I went and took a friend of mine is selling his old classic Jaguar car, 4-liter. Old classic, but a Goldie. And I was taking some photos with my new Samsung S21 Ultra, which has 4 cameras on it, and it looks like 5 cameras.
It's big.
It's basically 80%
Can
camera.
I just brag? I've got 3 cameras. I don't know why. I just take a photo. I don't know why I have 3 cameras. I don't even know which one is taking the photo. All of them. How does it work?
So when you're using your phone, it's quite interesting because they have to. You cannot have when you're using a traditional DSLR camera, if you want a wide angle, which just means you want to be able to see more left and right of the image, have a bigger image, you need to use a wide angle lens or even a telephonic lens. And when you're taking up close, you want a macro type of lens. You want like a 50mm. So what they've done is they've basically adjusted, and you can actually see it pretty clearly on my phone. You can see the wide angle lens there. You can see.
Oh, they're different. Yeah, I can see they're not the
lenses.
same. Yeah.
But the user experience is seamless. You're transitioning from 1x zoom to wide angle to 10x zoom. The process of actually utilizing your camera is seamless, but you're integrating different cameras at different times. I had quite an interesting issue with my Huawei, which had 3 cameras. One of the cameras got busted. I happened to drop it, and the stone landed in the camera. So that was the end of that, and it was like on the 4th day of having it, I almost did a backflip. I was so upset. But I happened to notice that when I was taking videos or pictures, some parts of the image just didn't quite look right. And that shows me that, okay, the image is being compiled based on all the imagery information that is available.
I must play a bit with these things.
You must.
I can also see that the three of them are different.
Yeah. I mean,
They're not the same. They don't look the same.
Your camera, the cameras on your phone is obviously a lot smaller than the cameras on my phone, but it doesn't necessarily mean the quality is worse, because the real power is in the post-processing, how that image is compiled, how HDR is enabled. HDR is just basically taking a photo at multiple different lighting settings and things like that, combining it so that the brightest stuff is not too bright, the darkest stuff is not too dark, and it combines all of that together so you can see the dark sides, you can see the bright sides, and it all looks very saturated. Quite interesting, I think. Camera technology is insane. I mean, this camera, when I bought my first DSLR, which I thought was a pretty good camera back then, it was 24 megapixel. I thought, wow, now I'm really in the future now. Look at all these cool photos I can take. Well, 5 years later, I buy a phone 108 megapixel.
Sure, it's insane, eh?
On a device 8 times smaller, the camera size is phenomenally smaller. But still, they give you this amazing camera, and then they let you put the phone on it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, on it.
Shouldn't there be like a little indent or something so that the phone is not against the camera?
So usually,
or is it like a lens or something?
You'll see with the case that I have, it actually creates that indent. Most cases will give you a little indent. And
just so it doesn't,
I thought even, wow, this indent probably isn't wide enough, but it just needs a little bit of space.
Yes.
So that it doesn't scratch on anything.
Exactly.
But I would have preferred if they gave you just like, let me buy camera protector, like a little, screen protector for your
exactly.
camera.
Exactly, yeah.
Better than breaking a camera.
But it must be out there, man.
I hope so.
Otherwise, let's just invent it.
Let's find a way.
Somebody must have thought of it in the shower. Come on.
So Elon Musk.
I wish. I bloody wish.
Elon Musk is launching a couple of satellites into orbit around Earth to create satellite internet. Well, as we know, when the big boys come out to make money, generally there's more. Like when SpaceX came out, then all of a sudden Richard Branson has a space enterprise,
and he went up just the other day.
He did?
Yeah.
I read
Richard
Branson
Branson went
didn't
up.
Actually go up.
Oh.
I might be completely wrong.
No, he went up.
Okay, good.
Because Elon he still said well done to him or something.
Oh, I saw that Elon said good luck or something.
But what's his name? The Amazon guy still needs to go up.
Jeff and his...
with the space granny.
Space granny. I don't know why, but whenever you say Space Granny, I just picture a version of like Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. It's like, I don't know why. But Amazon has now acquired Facebook satellite internet team to also produce satellite internet. And it's an issue I spoke about in a few previous weeks, that we're putting so much stuff in space that two things in space just have to hit each other, and we're in for trouble, because it'll wipe everything out, make space travel 10 times harder, getting out of the atmosphere 10 times harder, and all that bad stuff. So the tech giant Amazon has acquired a team of more than a dozen wireless internet experts from Facebook to boost its multi-billion-dollar project of launching thousands of satellites and offering broadband services globally. The report, citing a Facebook spokesperson, said on Wednesday that the social networking giant's employees moved to Amazon in April to help the company develop its network of low-orbit satellites by the middle of this decade. The workers are in Los Angeles area and included physicists as well as optical prototyping, mechanical and software engineers who had previously worked on aeronautical systems and wireless networks, according to their LinkedIn pages. Amazon paid Facebook an undisclosed sum of money, so basically a lot of money, for the acquisition, which saw more than a dozen Los Angeles-based employees switch companies in April to work on Project Caper. The report said, imagine you're working for Facebook, you're like, yes, I'm working for Facebook, and then your boss comes to you and says, yo guys, high days, we've just been bought out. You now work for Amazon. They don't know whether to be excited or sad, immediate job shift, no choice about it. I hope they got compensation packages.
But apparently there's this motto in the tech business, and it says, if you can't beat them, buy them. And it is so true.
It is.
We've seen that many, many times where they just oh man, you're just in the way. Let's just buy that company.
Yeah, we saw it with WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Facebook bought WhatsApp.
Exactly. So it really is true, that motto.
Yeah.
It's the way they operate.
And it's a way to get more infrastructure or technology into your business. You see people build this fantastic technology. You know that you have the advantage as a big tech company because you have millions and billions of expendable finances if it's going to prove revenue. And then you decide, okay, instead of letting these guys try raise funds for 10 years, you just buy them for 5 times more than the funds that they were going to raise. And it might be a big expense at the time, but sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, how much was WhatsApp bought for? Over 2 billion or something like that?
Can't even remember.
And they're still yet to make a profit from WhatsApp.
Yeah, when are they showing those ads? They were planning ads in the status feed.
Yeah, too many competitor social networks just rocked up. And
people are already pissed off with them, like you. For that agreement thing.
Oh, yeah.
So don't come and show ads now as well. Then you're out.
It's like YouTube with their red
yes,
the red
YouTube
subscription
Red,
plan.
yeah.
I'm fine with ads. That's what I'm used to. I've grown up with it. I'm not paying a subscription for YouTube. I would never have used YouTube as a lighty if I had to pay a subscription. I'm not about to do it just for ads.
Yeah.
And I've seen my revenue on YouTube when I used to have lots of videos, a couple 100,000 views a month.
Yeah.
Your revenue from YouTube Red subscribers isn't exactly boastable. I haven't seen anything that suggests to me that you make more from people watching your video with the YouTube Red subscription than people not. Because the bidding landscape, as we explained, with content creators being bid over to enable them to join a platform exclusively, the same thing goes for content creators who are being served whose audiences are being served with ads in order to basically whose audiences are being served with ads so that they can generate revenue. You have a good audience of tech kind of people and you're making a video about smartphones. Now Samsung, Apple, Huawei are all bidding on your video in order for that viewer to see their phone, so you make more money as an as a content creator running ads. It's 1 + 1.
But is it true that it was easier to make money on YouTube, say 5 or 10 years ago, than it is now?
Yes.
Is it more difficult now?
Just because the sheer number of content creators and the sheer number of those content creators that have loyal audiences. As a newbie kind of startup guy, you have to have something unique coming to the table.
Yeah, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
What happened to Casper Lee? Is he still making videos?
I don't know.
Remember Casper Lee? Shane Dawson, I know he's been cancelled, as they say, because of blackface or something.
No, I don't know about
Shane
that.
Dawson. Remember Shane Dawson?
Yeah, I remember that.
I was a fan at one stage, but he kept on painting his face black. And then all those old videos, it was never an issue back then, but all those old videos just resurfaced and it was used against him.
Casper
and stuff that he said.
Casper hasn't made a video in a year.
Yeah.
More than a year.
But I think he's got a business or something. He's probably busy with a business.
He's got some influencer business, but his views tumbled, He was... a year ago, 400,000.
He was good, man.
400,000.
And he's from Knysna, That was a massive thing because we were so proud of this guy.
But his viewership dropped a lot.
I'm sure.
A lot. Like looking at his videos now, it's not even what it used to be.
And then there was also this guy called Kaine. He was also on YouTube. He made really good videos. He just stopped. And he kept on saying, I'm making new videos. So he never came back. What happened to him? Do you know?
No, I don't know that guy. Nah.
I think he just
never
got
heard of him.
too caught up in daily life and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think
maybe he's settling down now and he's got a family and all that stuff.
If you've ever watched Casper Lee, you find that he had a style of videos which suited his age. And as you age and mature, it's difficult to
keep that going.
Even PewDiePie. Back in the day, PewDiePie was just a screaming, horror game playing kind of millennial. And now he's like 28, reviewing.
Your viewership changes with you.
Yeah, he's reviewing like I haven't watched his content in a while, but he used to do like a lot of reviewing of these like Love Island things, and like really going down more of a drama orientated kind of environment. But people still love it. Then he started these YouTube news shorts where he like spoke about news and upcoming stuff. I mean, your content actually matures with you most of the time.
But Kaine, you also made some of those videos, those top 5 videos, top 5 games, top 5 movies and that stuff. They usually do quite well. But that's a lot of research. And also you hope that it's not flagged for copyright and stuff.
Oh, no, it does get flagged. My one video that I have produced, it was top 10 TV shows of 2016
I remember
like
it, man.
that.
I remember.
And I think it hit 5 million views
Oh,
this year.
my word.
But at its first 400,000 views, I think 3 of the top 10 automatically got flagged for copyright infringement.
Sure.
And I actually made an appeal to YouTube to say, there is no way that you can flag this video for copyright and not allow me to generate revenue, because the video itself is generating revenue for the people that I'm reviewing.
Exactly.
The number 1 position is going to get a lot of people watching the video
For
because I've
heaven's
just
sakes,
vetted
it's
it.
free advertising.
And I got it, and they cleared it up, and I made a couple $1,000. So that was great.
Fantastic. Kaine, I know you have to go soon. Just tell us quickly, Netflix getting video games. When is that coming?
Oh,
it sounds nice. Do you have to pay extra for it, or do you get access to it being a Netflix subscriber, like a usual one?
Take a listen to this, right? So Netflix, obviously, we know what Netflix is. It's this it's a pay per month, view anything kind of service.
Yeah.
You can watch all the episodes of a series, and sometimes you have series that are released weekly. But there's a few things you can't do on Netflix.
Yeah.
You cannot watch sport.
No.
So if you're only a Netflix subscriber, you don't have DSTV, you don't have CNN or anything like that. I mean, if you don't have super sports subscriptions or something like that, no sport for you. No live stuff. You can't go watch David Guetta performing live. So Netflix Inc., marking its first big move in TV shows and film, is planning an expansion into video games and has hired former Electronic Arts Inc. and Facebook Inc. executive to lead the efforts. Mike Verdeau will join Netflix as Vice President of Game Development, reporting to Chief Operating Officer Greg Peters, the company said on Wednesday. Verdeau was previously Facebook's Vice President in charge of working with developers to bring games and other content to Oculus virtual reality headsets. The idea is to offer video games on Netflix's streaming platform within the next year, according to a person familiar with the situation. The games will appear alongside current fare as well as new programming genre, similar to what Netflix did with documentaries and stand-up specials. The company doesn't plan to charge extra for the content. So that's nice, said the person who asked not to be identified because the deliberators are private. Netflix shares gained as much as 3.3% to $566 a share in late trading after Bloomberg reported the news. The stock had been up 1.3% this year through Wednesday's close. Netflix has been seeking ways to keep growing, especially in more saturated markets such as the US. I don't know if you know, but the US has a Netflix. There is Netflix in the US, but there's a competitor that's much better than something like Showtime here in, what is it called? Showmax, yeah.
Who's that?
The CW. Or the HBO. You might have heard some of these networks before. So they including other things also, like building out kids programming, opening an online shop, tapping Steven Spielberg to bring more prestigious movies and all that sort of stuff. Even things like live events and live podcasts and live sport is something that Netflix wants to go into. But we know, if we were going to watch the McGregor fight on Netflix is going to pay a lot of money to have that streamable. So there's gonna, with all good things, just this one single package for all of Netflix products, I don't think it's going to last. I think we're going to have this element and that add-on and that add-on, and I have Netflix Gamer with my Netflix subscription, and I have Netflix Sport. I think that might happen at a later stage, but right now in their deliberation, they've said that that's not going to happen. But if they said it was going to happen, their shares would go down. So it's difficult to tell what the right move is there. But I don't know, what would you... I mean, offering games on Netflix is kind of difficult because you may be watching Netflix on a smart TV.
Yeah, now how am I going to play with that little remote?
You know, what kind of games?
I can go up and down, and I can go to the left, to the right. And I suppose I could use a button in the middle to shoot something.
Have you seen those interactive movies where you can kind of choose the next step that the person takes?
Yes, I like that, yes.
I know Bear Grylls did a version for like wilderness kind of vibe. I know there are some movies that have even done it a little bit.
Yeah, Shane Dawson, he was actually the first YouTuber that I watched that did that. You kind of decide at the end, or say she should go in the left door or should she go in the right door. But I watched them all anyway afterwards. Like,
yeah, just to know
what's on that side. Yeah.
I find it funny especially when I was watching like Bear Grylls. You know, he says, should I go over the bridge or should I go down the bridge? And they both lead to the same reaction. You know, you're like,
oh no.
Like, how do you get that right? So I think if it's going to go that angle, scrap it, don't even go into it. I think because they've hired this guy who's worked with Facebook for like Oculus and Electronic Games Art, which is a very high-end game publication, which even has done sporting games like EA Rugby. I mean, FIFA is Electronic Arts as well. So, you know, it could go any which way. How they're going to include Oculus, how they're going to handle being able to play games, that's another question. But if we're talking best case scenario, wanting to achieve the level of gaming you see today with something as simple as a Netflix subscription, if they do the thing like Windows 365 where the game math crunching is done off the game and you're just streaming that information and interacting with it, you can be playing Call of Duty, you can be playing FIFA, you can be going into an immersive VR game like No Man's Sky, you could be doing hundreds of things if that is the route that they're taking. However, worst case scenario, do you remember those Facebook games back in the day?
Oh my word, yes.
Imagine it goes that route, you know, like Farmzilla and
Farmville. And people kept sending you Farmville invites and then you unfriended them because it's so annoying. I wonder what, if you log into your Farmville now, what would be happening there? Would the whole place be like overgrown? Your cows would be dead?
You would have an error 404.
Yes, it doesn't exist anymore. Shame. Yeah, and people worked so hard on their farms, you know.
Yeah.
Every night coming home from work, they would log in and work on their farms.
Hours, you know, and all your friends invite you. But you know what is an interesting point now that you mention that thing about inviting your friends to join and things?
Yes.
It creates a community-based environment potentially for people who might be gaming on Netflix. You might see Netflix instant messaging coming where you can message your friends on Netflix. This is just guesstimation. We can refer back to this podcast.
I like that. Is that your word? Guesstimation.
A guesstimation.
Copyright.
But if we can create an atmosphere, a community, and that's what they're intending to do, then gaming is going to become exceptionally immersive within Netflix. You know, being able to, instead of telling your friend, hey, go search this on Netflix, just sharing straight to your friend on Netflix who has a Netflix account, maybe that's linked through Facebook, or it can go 101 ways.
We're going to see a lot of interesting things before this year ends, eh?
Before the whole of South Africa is vaccinated, there should be some interesting stuff happening in the next 5 to 50 years.
Somebody on the WhatsApp line saying, it feels like I have an error 404 today. Shame. I feel better soon. That's funny. Kaine, as always, I know you pushed for time today. Thank you so much. It was great having you in studio again, and then we'll do it again next Thursday. Fantastic. If the country's still standing.
Fingers crossed and toes. Let's keep an eye on it. But thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to come on to the Tech Show and speak with you and have fun.
Yes, exactly. And share knowledge, because you've got so damn much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I'll see you next week.
You too, Kaine. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Your systems are offline.
eRadio Live, powered by TCS Wi-Fi.